Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olivier Colinet, and I'm Technical Director for Google Enterprise. I'm delighted to spend the next 20 minutes to talk about disruptive innovation, radical innovation, as we've seen it at Google, but also to describe the culture behind it. Thanks, Dave. But also, at the end of it, I'll share with you some of the amazing, outlandish, crazy ideas and projects that we've been landing at Google. So it's a known fact that Larry has a healthy disregard for the impossible. And by focusing on 10% improvement, we realized that actually we all ended up doing the all same things. So it's very unlikely you're going to obviously fail spectacularly in front of everyone, but you almost guaranteed not to provide any success long term. So looking through the developed economies that we're in, a lot of organizations today are really tuned not to take any risk. They're tuned to really provide the numbers for the next quarter. They're tuned to provide incremental improvement of margins, They're tuned to really focus on their competitive advantage, but they're not really inspiring people. They're not really taking any risk. They're not really trying to accelerate where technology could help. They're slowing down. They're getting old. So we're really at the early stage of where technological innovation could barely change our world. But we should not slow down now. We should accelerate. We should definitely look for places where we can innovate and provide radical changes. And by doing so, we'll be able to harvest amazing opportunities. So what does it take to really get there? Well, first, it takes us to change the culture. You need to really learn on how to fail fast and to fail often. You need to learn on nurturing a culture inside the organization where people feel safe trying things out. And for 99% of cases, for sure, you'll fail. But 1 out of 100 will succeed, and this is where you should invest. At Google X, which is Google Innovation and Incubation Cell, we're not looking towards on how we're going to make more money. We're looking towards on how we can change thousands, millions, eventually billions of lives and make the world a better place. And this is the way we've been investing for years. This is the way we provided search to the consumers. This is the way we also provided Street View and many other services that will come in. We believe that if we can improve the world and make a better life for many people, money will come and find us. The good thing at Google as well is, and at Google X in particular, is we're very disciplined at killing projects very early on. When the teams are small, where the prototypes don't really land where we're expecting them to land. We're looking for 10x improvement, and should we find that actually we're more on track of a 2x improvement, reality will bring us down to potentially a 5% increase, which is not good enough for us to invest. But if we're shooting for 10x, we'll find places where eventually reality will bring us down to 2x, and these will be amazing things for people. So what does it take to really think that way? And this is what we're calling internally Moonshot Thinking. What we mean by moonshot sits basically in the gray area in between audacious technology, but also science fiction. We're all Star Trek lovers at Google. But it takes a few parameters to really set what is a moonshot. The first one, obviously, is to get people to work on amazing, hardly, almost impossible problems to solve. It also takes to find and imagine some radical solutions to these problems. You've seen it earlier with self-driving cars and how we could save millions of lives. And last, it takes about finding breakthrough technology that might make that solution possible. This is basically what the essence of a moonshot is. And reality shows us that if you bring people behind the hardest problems to solve, if you get them to find the most radical solutions ever, and get them to play with technological magic, you will inspire people behind your goal, your mission. I've been lucky enough in my life to start my career at the CERN in Geneva, and I've seen for a couple of years thousands of technicians and engineers to work endlessly behind one single project, the Large Hadron Collider. So really, when you're setting people behind a large mission, you can really inspire them for the long term and commit them to success. So let me share with you some of the amazing, outlandish projects we've been working on. And please pay attention to the pace of these innovations. We launched in January 2014 this year what we're calling the smart contact lens. What this project is about saving and providing technology to help millions of people in the world who are affected with diabetes. And what the smart contact lens is doing in here is basically measuring, monitoring constantly the glucose level in your tears. So the smart contact lens contains a different set of technology pieces. The first one is a wireless chip. The second one is obviously a miniaturized glucose sensor. The two of them work in pair and obviously are embedded within two thin layers of lens material. But the whole intention is the electronic sits outside of your pupil and iris, so there is no danger whatsoever to damage your eye. What we're doing, obviously there is a small pinhole inside the lens, so the tear liquid can seep through to the sensor and measure constantly your glucose level. There is a third component coming to this technology piece, which is a small antenna which is as big as a human's hair. That antenna really helps us to collect, to analyze, to read data constantly, and send that information over to a wireless device. The prototype contact lenses that we have today are able to measure every single second your glucose level, and obviously might benefit in the future to millions of people. This is really a good example of Moonshot project. A month later, we announced another one, which is to be, I guess, even more impactful. This is Project Tango, and what Tango does is basically provides a software and a hardware platform for you to collect 3D dimensional information around you. So as you're walking through a space with Tango, we can record immediately all different 3D information around you, so we can also reconstruct a 3D model of the space you're in. This has obviously a lot of benefits for us long term, because this is a way where we can easily democratize the ability to build indoor 3D models and provide indoor navigation to many users in the future. So these are just two examples, but there is one which is much closer to my heart, and this is Google Glass. Dave and I have been lucky enough to use Glass for a few months now. But can anyone spot what's wrong on that picture? Well, I guess we're all living in a highly technological environment where we've got many social tools to play with. But actually, we're all becoming more and more antisocial as technology is being brought in. And the reason why we decided to really invest in Glass is we wanted the way people were interacting with each other. So other than potentially able to now access to information just at that moment, I can still keep the eye contact with all of you. But at the same time, what we wanted is, with Glass, is providing you a way to access information while you can keep your hands free, you can keep your attention free, but you can also make it seamlessly, you can also provide easier and seamless access to information, or the ability for you to collaborate with your peers, your colleagues, your family, and friends. What Glass does on top of that, it makes it almost effortlessly for you to tap into information. So by the time you start thinking of doing something, it's done already. And we're going to share with you some examples in a couple of minutes. Glass is really aiming to provide one single thing, to bring technology which is useful and available to you when you need it, but which steps out of your way when you don't. This is where we expect Glass to play really strong in the future. Glass really allows you, as I mentioned, to keep your hand free, and this can be particularly useful in many different activities. I'm using Glass when I go cycling, when I go running. You can wear Glass anytime, even in sunny London. I've been wearing Glass when it was raining a little bit outside. So really, Glass allows you to do a lot more things that you could think of today. So to best illustrate how much use you could make as of today, I wanted to switch to the next video to Alex, one of the Glass explorers. Thanks.
Being disabled is the first thing people see. And of course, it's a big part of my reality. But it's not who I am. It's not the only thing I am. Disability doesn't define me. 2 weeks ago, I became a Glass explorer. It meant I could do things I thought I wouldn't be able to do anymore. Take a picture. And that's forever. The last time I tried to go camping was the time I was in a car accident. Okay, Glass. Google, what is a felling axe? And here I am, a year and a half later. This trip will be the first time I'm apart from a caregiver for more than just a few hours.
At 600 feet, turn left.
Glass allows me to regain that confidence. And when I overcome a challenge,
Hey, we're here.
like becoming the navigator,
That's totally good.
I gain a little bit of that confidence I had before the accident back. And that doesn't go away.
We keep marking all those things. Are there bears in the Catskills? Take a picture. Being here with my friends is really meaningful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because these people have supported me and been with me the whole time.
Okay, Glass, take a picture.
It's been amazing to feel a sense of independence in nature with people I love.
Okay, Glass, share with family.
I'm Allie Splasher. I'm a law student, an amateur photographer, more than meets the eye.
So Alex is one of the Glass Explorers. We've been launching this program about a year ago, and we've been collecting a lot of feedback from a lot of his users. One of the interesting aspects of Moonshot projects is the ability for us to discover also new technologies which might help. So just to illustrate this point, Glass is designed to help you in any kind of environment, even in places where it might be really loud and might be really noisy for you to receive information. So we looked at technologies which could help us provide an audio signal while wearing glass. And we identified a technology called the bone transducer, bone conduction transducer, which basically helps us resonate the bone in the back of your skull to recreate a signal that basically your ear normally would create. By doing so, we identified that a lot of people could also benefit from glass while they can't today. If you think about deaf people, they can now hear the signals we can create with this scope. Also, as you've been seeing here with Alex, people affected by tetraplegia can now use the gyroscope, can also use the gyroscope to basically tilt their head and start glass, which really allows them to access to information and collaborate with people, changing significantly the life of its users. But Glass, like any other projects at Google, has been through a long set of iterations. We've been investing more than 3 years in this project. And as you can see in here, what used to be a mask with a backpack and a motherboard in there turned into something highly elegant, beautiful, which hopefully many millions of users will be wearing in the future. But Glass is much more than what we just mentioned so far. Glass is really an application platform which can allow you to tap into a new set of applications and use cases. So obviously, wearable technology is a huge topic, and Glass is just one part of it. As you've seen, Google has been investing in different parts of wearable technologies, and one of which is Android Wear, which we announced a few weeks ago, made available to developers, so developers could start building applications on Android Wear as well. So Glass and Wear are significantly different, but they just provide two investments from Google in this technology, which we expect to be transformative for many of us. In early January 2014, Forrester published a study on wearable technologies and basically recognizing how much these technologies will help transform enterprise organizations by the way they can automate and simplify business processes, by the way they're going to help people to collaborate with each other, and especially field workers. They identified 3 verticals where wearable technologies will have significant impact. Healthcare is the first one. Public safety is the second one, and any other places or customers who have a large set of field workers and need interactions in between field workers and back office. So we're very early stage in terms of what value will bring wearable technologies, but Google is investing a lot in bringing not only nice and innovative technologies in these sectors, but also in bringing applications which can truly change our workplace. So before moving on to our conclusion, I wanted to share with you an example of partnership that we've done with Accenture in the US and Philips in the US. And we worked together on how we could transform the experience of a surgeon and his ability to consult his patient before entering the ER room. Could you please roll out the next video?
glass, patient status. Okay, glass, check vital signs, phase 4. Okay, glass, increase SIBO, 2%.
Very cool. I've been reading about it. I wanted to see what it was all about, and it was even better than I thought it would be. At Philips, we believe that the future of healthcare requires innovations that can really make a difference.
At Accenture Technology Labs, we work with companies like Philips and Google to make these digital connections happen smoothly and quickly.
What makes Accenture our perfect partner is our collaboration allows us to build custom features for innovative digital technology like Google Glass that works seamlessly with our medical solutions.
To be able to use a wearable display in a medical setting to give doctors the chance to operate or coordinate with their peers in a hands-free environment is just not anything we've seen before. This is what digital transformation is all about.
For example, a young patient comes into the hospital with severe abdominal pains. Let's see what Google Glass can do.
I'm going to check on the patient status. Okay, glass, patient status. Looks like he's in OR 6, ready in about 12 minutes.
As the new healthcare information technologies start emerging, and they'll start being able to track patients, and having this sort of technology tethered to it would be very nice.
Hey Rob, almost ready? Okay, I'm going to check on the patient status, see if you're in the holding area. Okay, glass, check vital signs, bed 4.
If you have to turn away to look at the monitor, it makes it a little bit more difficult. If someone's that critical that you have to keep on looking, it's nice for the one glance you can find that information again.
Philips and Accenture envision this innovation providing many opportunities to support the complex tasks of healthcare professionals, both in the operating room and beyond.
Okay, glass, record picture in EHR.
Thank you. So this is just one of the examples of projects where we're working together in pair with partners and customers. Obviously, potential is huge for us in this market. What I wanted to share as a conclusion is I hope we convinced you and excited you with the future of Google X at Google, that you've seen some of the amazing technologies we can bring in. But more importantly, we hope we inspired you as well in your own organization to really work on radical innovations, which might be specific to your environment. I've got one ask for you tomorrow. I hope that all of you are going to walk back to your office and ask yourselves, what are my Moonshot projects? Thank you very much. Thanks for your attention. Bye-bye.